Hello guys, what's going on? It's ICC and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at one of my favorite ships in the game, the Drake fucking Corsair. Now, I'm fully aware this ship has been out for a few years now, I've been using it ever since pretty much, but I've seen a lot of people asking in chat and in different Star Citizen communities which ship they should use as a daily driver. Should they choose the Corsair, the Andromeda, the Atlas Black, you know how it goes. So this video is gonna be kind of a guide for those people, kind of a review for the ship for those kind of people. We're not gonna get super technical, we're just gonna have a quick tour and overview of the ship, along with some of my personal opinions. If you find this video helpful at all, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, leave a like down below, leave a comment, and with that said, let's get to it. So let's start our tour from the back of the ship. That's probably the only time I'm gonna show you the ramp in this clip, because I don't really use this entrance, I prefer the elevator, and I'll show you later why, but first let's listen and look at the door close. This has to be one of the coolest fucking animations and sounds this game has. Anyways, moving on, this is your cargo hold. It can fit 72 SCU units, and you have all your components here, well, most of them. Right and left side, that's where you're gonna have to repair them, I'm guessing, when mechanical engineering and stuff comes into play. On the left and on the right, you have your wing rotors. In true Drake fashion, everything is exposed. You know, you can see the ceiling, you can see the duct tapes and your fucking ventilation systems. It's insane. Moving up, let me show you why I left the doors open, because when you press the button to open or close the door, it takes a long as fucking time. That's another one of the reasons that I'm not really using the ramp to get in and out, because it takes a lot of time while the elevator is much faster. Moving on, we have this room that is housing our quantum drive, seems like, our gravity generator, our life support systems, you know, and generally more components that are gonna come into play in the future. So, with all this out of the way, let's enter our first dedicated room, which is the Armory. You have two slots here for big weapons like the railgun and the grenade launcher. Here, as you can see, we have armor suit containers. You cannot really use them at the moment since, you know, you cannot really house your armor suits anywhere, but that's pretty cool to have. And you have two more on the other side, because this is a 4-man crew ship. Here you can holster your weapons, you can put rifles here, sniper rifles, SMGs. On the top you can put pistols, med guns, multi-tools like that. I'm not gonna put mine now, because it takes a bit to take it in and out. Let me take my weapon out actually, because I might need it, I mean not in an armistice zone. But anyways, with that said, this is entry number 2, or exit, whatever you wanna call it. It's an airlock. You cannot really dock the ship anywhere at the moment, I don't think, but it's a pretty cool exit. Especially if you're into space or if you're into combat, you know, you can shoot out the airlock if your shields are down. Because when the shields are on, you know, you cannot shoot out, but you can also not get shot in. Moving on, we come to the main hall. On the left, we have 3 identical bedrooms. On the right, we have the cafeteria. Let's have a tour of one of the bedrooms, since they're all identical. You have your bed here. At the bottom, you have a ship and inventory access. You have another suit closet, and that's about it. It's simple as that. The rest of the rooms look exactly like this, so I'm gonna skip them. Into the cafeteria, ignore those things. I placed them there, the random stuff I found, and I thought they looked cool. But each Corsair comes with a hidden flask on the back of those napkins. But my favorite room in this ship is the fucking bathroom. You have your shower, you have your toilet seat. When this gameplay comes into the actual game, you know, it's gonna be pretty cool. But most importantly, you can poop and watch TV at the same fucking time. Memes aside, as I said, we're skipping the rest of the rooms, we're skipping the elevator for now, and we're moving past the turrets, left and right side. You're gonna have your mates there shooting everybody, and we move into the cockpit. Here we have our last bedroom. It's the pilot's bedroom. It's the same like everything else, same inventory, same bed, blah blah blah. Nothing really special. Your co-pilot sit here, and then finally the pilot sit on the front. Moving back to go to the elevator, let me show you why I love this ship. You call your elevator, you open your door, and as you can see, you have 3 levers to pull. If you pull the first one, you go to the fucking roof. As far as I know, the Corsair is the only ship at the moment with a roof access, with a roof entrance or exit, whatever you wanna call it. You can walk around properly and everything. I'm not gonna do it now because the storm seems to be pretty aggressive. I don't wanna get knocked off the ship and have to walk all the way around. But again, you can also fight from up here, you can shoot out, you can get shot at, only if the shields of the ship are down, otherwise every shot's gonna be blocked. But to me, that's one of the biggest fucking positives of this ship. I usually use this exit when I'm exiting when other players are around, so, you know, I don't risk them randomly entering my ship. Now, let's go over to the cockpit, start the quantum drive, and go over the details of the Corsair. So, first thing you can notice, as a pilot you have 5 MFDs, you have a 6th one on the floor on the bottom right, but you can't really use it mid-combat. It's kind of a meme, I guess. It's fully functional, but as I said, you cannot actually use it. Let's start our engines on as well. Another thing you probably noticed is that you already have 4 pilot-controlled weapons. The Corsair has 4 size 5 hardpoints on the front, meaning you can have 4 size 5 fixed weapons or 4 size 4 gimbaled weapons, as I do at the moment. Heading into third person view, before we talk about the wing weapons, another thing to notice about the Corsair is that by pressing K you can switch your ship to VTOL mode to make it easier to take off or, you know, land, go up and down directly, and again you can press K again to switch them back to normal mode. Another thing about the ship is that, as you can see, the landing gear is very short, so it's pretty quick to retract and deploy, but by pressing Alt and K, you deploy your wings, and god damn, this looks fucking beautiful. As you can see, deploying the wing activates 2 more weapons. There are 2 size 4 hardpoints on the left wing, meaning you can have 2 size 4 fixed weapons or 2 size 3 gimbaled weapons on your left wing, making this the highest pilot-controlled DPS ship in the game at the moment. This thing is just insane. You put ballistics on it, it goes brrr, and your enemy just fucking blows up. At this point I should mention that the Corsair also works beautifully with laser weapons, not just ballistics. I use lasers if the servers are suffering and they're lagging, because with the ballistics you're gonna have to keep rearming for a lot of shots not registering, but overall you go ballistics, your enemy goes boom, you win the fight. So, with some random Corsair footage I recorded in the last few days in the background, let's go through our list of pros and cons. Number 1 in the pros list, the ship has insane damage, as we already mentioned. You can easily do ERTs on it, you can kill anything. That ship is fucking insane when it comes to damage. For our cons though, it flies like a brick. It flies as you would expect a ship of this size to fly. Its handling is kind of horrible, but once you get used to it, you can actually manage, you get a feel for, you know, when you need to brake, when you need to turn, all those things. Number 2 in the pros list, as mentioned, it has 72 SCS of cargo. It's pretty good for medium cargo hauling. If you're a focused space tracker, then it's not really for you, but it's pretty great to load up on packs from your bounties, from, you know, any player packs you might borrow in your trips around the universe, or any drugs you might want to yoink from some town. Now for the cons, it has a lot of blind spots if the enemy is in an agile ship and it's smart enough to know how to fight you. If they stay under you, if they stay behind you, the turrets aren't that helpful, sadly. But if you get your shots off properly, you know, once you have the enemy in front of you, you can win that fight. Moving on to number 3 for the pros list, it can carry almost every ground vehicle in the game. You can even fit the snub fighters in it, you can fit Furies in it. I've even seen videos and photos of carrying Pisces in it, so you can have your own medved in your Corsair. Now, on the other side, on the cons, if you lose an engine, you're a Beyblade. You're gonna be spinning out of control until you kill your throttle down completely, and then if you are in atmosphere, you need to adjust your thrusters while crash landing to kind of, you know, balance for the missing engine. If you're out in space, first you need to completely kill your speed, become a floating turret in space, kill your enemies, and then go about adjusting your thrusters and all that stuff. Moving into number 4 in the pros, it's a pretty tanky ship. You can slap an FR-86 shield on it, and the only way you're gonna die is if you crash, if you go AFK, or if your enemy kamikazes on you. Otherwise, it's gonna be almost impossible to die. But on the other side, on the cons, This ship could definitely use more or at least better missiles. You only have 8 arresters at the moment. They're not really the greatest. It's not a missile boat, so you don't, really deserve better missiles, but I wouldn't mind a few more missiles. Get us at least 10 of them. Back to the pros list, it's an amazing support ship in combat. If you're in a combat with some friends on your side, if the enemy focuses on you, you're tanky enough to absorb the damage while your friends are doing all the work killing them. If the enemy sleeps on you and ignores you, thinking, oh, it's just a Corsair, let me kill the Arrow or the Vanguard or whatever, then you have, all your fucking weapons to shoot them without being shot at, so you can actually adjust your aim and shoot them properly, killing them in mere seconds. Lastly, in the cons list, in my opinion at least, that's the last negative thing the ship has, the doors are too slow to open. I don't know if that's a bug, because they used to be faster, but I don't know if it's just been updated, but it takes a longest time to run from the bridge to the ramp, or from the ramp to the bridge. Moving on to our second to last positive thing about the Corsair, this ship is supposed to be an expedition ship. Does that mean it's gonna get some exploration game loops in the future? I don't know, we don't know, nothing is confirmed, but it's a very good possibility. Lastly, and it's a massive bonus in my opinion, it's how unique this ship is, how unique it looks, how unique it feels. It's one of those ships that you can't really replicate, you can't really add multiple versions of it. It's the Corsair, the end. Now, with all that said and done, this was the best pros and cons list I could come up with. Feel free to add your own down in the comments. Overall, the Corsair is an amazing ship. It's definitely my favorite at the moment. It's been my daily driver since it came out. Hopefully it's gonna be for many years to come. Maybe the 600IA rework is gonna dethrone it, but even then, that's gonna be very hard. Not being in the Corsair feels weird. If you're one of the people that are trying to find the one ship to rule them all, that one ship you're gonna call home for years and you're never gonna change or upgrade or melt or sell, blah blah blah, then the Corsair is for you. For example, I love the MSR, I love how it flies, I love how fast and agile it is, but it's lacking on shields and firepower. If you get caught, you're fucked. Constellation Taurus, on the other hand, is pretty good on weapons, has amazing cargo hold, but choosing the Taurus over the Corsair, you're kind of limiting yourself for no reason, unless you're just a space tracker. Moving on to the Constellation Andromeda, yes, it has 3000 missiles at this point. It's the closest ship I can think of to compare to the Corsair, but still, it's lacking on the DPS, plus the Constellations fly worse than the Corsair. Finally, if you have a Cutlass Black, or you're trying to decide between the Cutlass and the Corsair, go for the Corsair. I used the Cutlass for months, I loved that ship, but after being in the Corsair, I realized the Cutlass is just, its little brother that kind of wanna tag along, but can't. There are only 2 justifiable reasons not to go for the Corsair. One of them, and the most important one, is the price tag. I get it that the rest of the ships are a bit cheaper, the Corsair is more expensive than the rest of the ships I mentioned, and not everyone has the budget to go for it in real life. Obviously, maybe you don't want to spend that currency in game. I completely understand that. The second reason is if you're only focusing on one single game loop. For example, you're only doing fighting, PvE or PvP doesn't matter, you're just gonna want a fighter if you're never gonna carry packs, or if you only run packs, then what's the point in getting a more combat ship when you can just get a ship with more cargo space? In the end of the day, the Corsair does not have one single game loop it excels at, it does almost everything and it does it very well. It's a jack of all trades and almost a master of all of them, especially when it works in tandem with the ships that complement its weaknesses. As mentioned earlier, for example, having fighters along your side to support you when the enemy is in your blind spots, or, accompanying a big cargo ship and you being its armed support and stuff like that. With that said, we reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, leave a comment down below with your thoughts on the Corsair and what ship is your favorite daily driver. If you wanna get the game and you don't have it already, my referral code is gonna be in the description. You get a bit of a starting cash bonus and I get some bits and bobs from my hangers and stuff like that. You're gonna have some prompts around your screen right now to click in, some more videos of mine, so feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching, see you in the next one.